We are just 79 days away from the NFL draft, and today we're not drafting future prospects. Instead, we are putting together our experts to draft players in the Super Bowl, their fantasy draft here. So we assume that Patrick Mahomes is going to be going #1 overall, but what about after that? I mean, could Pete Prisco potentially draft Saquon Barkley, a running back, #2 overall? Is Travis Kelce going to fall in our draft? The two guys, we have two teams. I will be your commissioner. Pete Prisco, Douzable. Since I am the commissioner, feel free to boo me at any point if you like. You have picked your team names. We have There Is an I in Prisco, Team Pete Prisco over here, and Anything is Douzable, which I think was your fantasy football name anyway. Douzable here. So the way we're deciding this, rock, paper, scissors, and you guys have decided the rules. Is it 1, 2, 3, shoot, or 1, 2, go? Which way are we doing it?
So it's rock, paper, scissors, shoot. And you got to shoot on shoot. And that will determine who will draft first.
Okay, all right.
It'll be like Snake, so whoever wins. So you ready? You ready, Pete? You ready to do this? Or put this mic? Do we keep the mics in our hand or we put them down?
Yeah, set it down. Set it down.
You got to put them down. All right, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh yeah, oh yeah, I love it.
That Pete is going
so
second
Amanda, but I know you're the commissioner, Amanda. But me and Pete also had a discussion with our producer Boney, and we want to do this as if these two teams are playing in the Super Bowl, because they are. Because in fantasy, a lot of times you do your lineup based on who the opponent is playing. So that's how we're going to do this draft. So I know you said that you'd be surprised if Patrick Mahomes is maybe going #1. I'm going Saquon Barkley because of the fantasy value, right? This guy is averaging 147 rush yards throughout the playoffs. He already eclipsed 2,000 yards during the regular season. He's one of the best backs, if not the best backs in football right now. So from a fantasy value, and I know Steve Spagnuolo does a masterful job of stopping running backs, but I'm going with the value of Saquon Barkley. I'm taking Saquon #1.
You're like when somebody would have drafted Ryan Leaf ahead of Peyton Manning back in the day. I'm taking the king. Of course I'm taking the king. I'm taking Michael Jordan.
Hey.
Look, he's 15-0 in domes. He averages over 300 yards per game in domes. He's going to light up the Eagles' defense. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes. Of course I'm taking Michael Jordan. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes.
And I love that because this is based off fantasy, not the actual game. Amanda, you can jump in. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off if I did. But I'm going to take Jalen Hurts next. And when you look at what he did 2 years ago versus the Kansas City Chiefs, over 300 yards passing, a passing touchdown, three rushing touchdowns.
Hold on, I got to interrupt. You're not going by the rules. This is not, since you got to go
it's
first.
It's a snake draft. It's
in the second
But you can't
round,
take two quarterbacks.
Pete gets to go first. This is how we're doing it. We're flip-flopping.
That's a snake draft.
That is a snake. Yeah.
That is a snake draft. But I'm not taking Jalen Hurts because I already have a quarterback.
Correct.
So who am I taking? That's a problem. There's not a lot of great choices here. So I'm going to do something a little unconventional because I think this guy's going to have a monster game and take Xavier Worthy.
Really?
Wow.
I think he's going to have 2 touchdowns in the game. He's going to catch the game winner. I think when you look at Worthy and what he's meant to this offense, they're going to get creative. They got to get the ball out of his hands.
Correct.
Going to get creative with him, get him on those little motions across the field. I think Worthy's going to have a monster day.
Wow, that's a surprise pick, B. I did not see that one coming because you had A.J. Brown, you had the Slim Reaper and Devontae Smith on the board. Xavier Worthy.
You see a little pattern there with my Chiefs team.
So you're going all Chiefs. Well, this is a pattern, and again, it's snake draft, so I messed up, and I told you my answer a little early, but I'm going to go Jalen Hurts, because I think game plan-wise it's going to be a big game for him. Let's not forget, we go back to earlier this year when there was a tiff between him and A.J. Brown, and people were wondering, could Jalen Hurts, if the game was put on his shoulders, do enough to help the Eagles win? We saw that versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he carved them up. And then in the post-game press conference, Pete, what did he say? Is that what you guys wanted? Is that what you were waiting for? I think we get more of that in this game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Steve Spagnuolo is going to do a great job of taking away what you want to do most, which is run the football. I think Jalen Hurts probably throws at least 40 times this game, but throws for over 300 yards. I think he runs and has at least 2 rushing touchdowns on a tush push. I know he likes to call it just a quarterback sneak, but I like Jalen Hurts to have a big day, so I'm taking him.
If he's having that kind of day, what kind of day is Barkley going to have?
Hey, I'm going fantasy value. That's why I took Barkley #1.
All right. I'm trying to figure it out. You got another pick because it's a snake draft.
Yeah, it is
right.
a snake.
So
I will say so far, I do want to mention, though, by the way, on our CBS Sports big board of players in the Super Bowl, Xavier Worthy was all the way down to 21, Pete. But Pete going with the Chiefs offensive here. Ligier, you're going with the Eagles so far. Are you going to mix things up?
I'm ahead of that big board.
No, I'm not mixing things up because I was surprised that he left A.J. Brown on the board. I'm taking A.J. Brown. He had a big Super Bowl 2 years ago, had a 45-yard catch, went for almost 100 yards, had a touchdown in that game in double coverage. I think he has a big game because by design, Steve Spagnuolo is going to put more guys in the box, which means he's going to have advantageous coverage on the outside. So I think he has a big game. And when you look at this Chiefs team, 2 years ago, that defensive back group was a lot better for the Chiefs than it is right now. So if A.J. Brown is left on the island or he has soft zone coverage, he is going to tear the Chiefs up. Give me A.J. Brown.
I don't like the fact that touchdowns matter as much as they do in fantasy football. A guy can rush for 120 yards and have no touchdowns.
Correct.
And the guy scores 2 from the 1 and he gets more. But I'm going to go with that anyways because I'm going to take Kareem Hunt.
Ooh.
I think Kareem Hunt might get a touchdown. He might catch the ball out of the backfield, get some plays in the screen game. I think Kareem Hunt is a guy that I'm going to take. And if you see my pattern, I'm with the Chiefs.
I see that.
But I'm going to buck that trend on my snake pick, though.
Is that right?
Yeah. Because I'm coming back. No, I don't think I am going to buck it. Come to think of it, give me Travis Kelce at tight end.
Oh, okay.
Give me Travis Kelce at tight end.
I was about to buck it if you didn't pick him.
I was gonna change it up a little bit. I'm not changing it up. I'm taking Travis Kelce.
I like that. I mean, the guy shows up in the Super Bowl. I think he's averaging 85 yards receiving in the Super Bowl. Now, again, struggled 2 weeks ago versus the Buffalo Bills, but the Eagles run a ton of zone coverage, and that's what Travis Kelce kills. So I'm going to keep the theme the same, like Pete is doing with his team. I'm going with the Slim Reaper. He actually had a really big game also 2 years ago for the Kansas City Chiefs. Devontae Smith, he had a 45-yard catch, which actually should have went into the end zone. I don't know if you remember it, Pete. It was down the left sideline, and he kind of trickled out at like the 3-yard line. And if he could have just, toe drag, swagged it into the end zone, he would have had a touchdown in that game. I think it'll be interesting to see what Steve Spagnuolo does because I have a hankling that Trent McDuffie might actually travel with him because let's not forget, just in last year's Super Bowl, he followed Deebo Samuel, who was the number 2 receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. So he could be one-on-one. Devontae Smith is one of the most savviest receivers. And this has been the year that Trent McDuffie, because he's been stuck on the outside, he has given up more passing touchdowns, more receptions as well. Still one of the best corners in football. But I like Devontae Smith to have a nice role in this offense. So I'm going Devontae Smith. You
got another pick?
I do got another pick. Do I mix it up right here?
Do you guys have like big boards in front of you? I'm curious. Like, explain how you got ready for this segment before we hit into the 5th round.
Oh yeah,
in our head, right here.
It's all in the head.
On the head. You don't need a big board.
All right, go ahead, Lee J. What you got? 5th round.
I'm gonna go defense here. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. This is one of the best, if not the best, defense in all of football. They really took strides, right, when Cooper DeJean was inserted into the starting lineup. Pete always talks about game wreckers and how Chris Jones is a game wrecker. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles have one in Jalen Carter. He right now is playing out of this world. I mean, you can't double team him. You can't triple team him. He constantly gets pressure in the backfield. Just go back to that Rams game. He literally ended any chance the Rams had the last 2 plays of the game by getting a sack, and then on 4th down, creating the pressure on Matt Stafford to make him throw an ill-advised throw, an inaccurate throw to win that game. So when you talk about Jalen Carter, you talk about the young gunners on the outside as Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, and I love what Zach Bond has meant to this team this year. I'm going with the defense of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Thank you, because I just, it's like when you get somebody and you're playing checkers and you can't make a move anymore. Because you know what I'm going to do?
What?
I'm going to take Dallas Goedert as my flex.
I was back and forth. Almost took Dallas Goedert.
Oh, you know what that means? You don't have a tight end and you don't have one.
I got one.
You got one?
I got one. I think he's going to actually have a nice role.
Okay.
But you got to pick again. So
I got Dallas Goedert as my tight end. That's my tactical move.
Yeah.
And then I know he already has a defense, so I don't have to pick a defense. So now I have to pick another wide receiver.
Yep.
So you know where I'm going to go? I'm going to go with more speed. I'm going to go with Hollywood Brown.
Ooh, that's a nice pick. I like that pick right there. So Pete was worried about me not picking a tight end. And the reason why I went with defense instead of going with Dallas Goedert, because I think the guy that I'm actually going to pick at the tight end position is going to have a day. And that's Noah Gray. And that's a guy that Patrick Mahomes has really trusted these last few weeks. He's a guy, especially in 12 personnel with him and Travis Kelce out there, I think it makes some hay against his zone defense. When you look at this Philadelphia Eagles defense, they've really struggled in zone with some of their linebackers on out routes, right? Zach Ertz had a field day, 100 yards 2 weeks ago, right? Travis Kelce is really good with that, but you got to think he's going to get extra attention. So who does that free up? Noah Gray. Noah Gray has showed up big for the Chiefs this season, and I think he will Sunday as well.
So you basically have a backup tight end as your starting tight end.
But he's technically a starter. They play a lot of 12 personnel.
He's backup tight end.
I'll take it.
You got another pick?
Oh, I
Seventh and
do have
final
another
round.
pick. Ooh, so flex. You took one of my flexes. It was going to be Kareem Hunt, but you took him early. I'll go with the other running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco. Now, there is some concerns with him because he has been banged up. Hopefully the 2 weeks off, because let's not forget, he was essentially kind of like the hero 2 years ago in that Super Bowl, where a lot of people didn't have good footing. He actually had really good footing in that game.
He hasn't looked the same.
He hasn't. So I'm hoping with the 2 weeks off, he finally looks like himself. He's a guy that they're going to try to run the football with because we know this, Pete. The Philadelphia Eagles like to have a light box, 7-man box, and because of their defensive tackles being so dominant, they can get away with that and hold opponents to 2-3 yards here. He is going to be massive with the interior three of that offensive line of trying to get 4 yards here, 5 yards here. He's a physical runner. People say it looks like he's mad at the ground when he runs the football. So I'm hoping that the 2 weeks off really bodes well for Isaiah Pacheco.
And then my last pick has to be the defense, and I'm going with Steve Spagnuolo. Paisan passion, baby. The greatest defensive coordinator in big games maybe there's ever been. He's been fantastic. He shut down the old Tom Brady Patriots when he was with the Giants. I think he's going to do a great job on Saquon Barkley here. I'll take the defense of the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, Commissioner, what do you think? Whose team would win this?
I think probably Pete. Yeah, probably Pete. But hold on.
It's based off fantasy, though.
I want you guys to grade one another. Can you guys grade Pete? Lige, what grade would you give to Pete for his draft? Pete, what grade would you give to Lige?
I speculated. If I graded myself, I'm going to grade you, Lige. I'm going to give you. I think you box yourself in by taking the Eagles defense and not getting a starting tight end. So I'll give you a B+.
Okay. I would give Pete an A. I mean, obviously he has Mahomes, right? I just think Saquon versus Kareem Hunt kind of shifts things. And then at the receiver position, I know you're high on Worthy, but I think Brown and Smith. The key to it all is
Worthy. The key to it all.
I think Brown and Smith.
In the end, Xavier Worthy has the game I think he's going to have, and it's going to be one of those moments where you look back on this and you go, you were right.
It'll be interesting to see, but I like my combination of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. But I like the sneaky pick of taking Xavier Worthy early because they don't just give him the ball the traditional passing way. They give him some end-arounds,
If Noah Gray has a game you think he'd have, I'll give you kudos.
All right, I'm telling you, Noah Gray is going to have a game.
Okay, I like it. Both of you guys going with some sleepers there. Who's going to end up with the most beads by the end of the weekend? Pete.
Lige.
There you go, you guys. We appreciate it. Have fun out there in the Big Easy. Our Super Bowl coverage, neither of which made this promo, and they're still fussy about it. But you can check all of our friends, Kyle Longcany Mox, Jonathan Jones, Bryant McFadden. They're at the Super Bowl. We'll be streaming all day, every day.